I think the game isn't going to make it, Sam. Greetings and hello there, everybody. It's me, Nooch Too Good, your Middle-earth dad, and I'm here today with a video that doesn't really fit how I generally conduct myself, but I gotta be honest, guys. I'm playing this game. I've invested money in this game. I've invested time in this game. I've made like 70 videos. Maybe not 70. I've made like 30, 40 videos. I think this game is dying, and I think it's gonna die. I don't think this game is gonna last. I'm here today. I'm gonna give you 8 reasons why I think this game is on the outs. And then I'm going to tell you what I think will happen, because I have some experience with this with previous games. I'm going to tell you what I think is going to happen as far as when, how, what's going to happen, what's the long-term prognosis, etc. for the game. So let's get into it. Let's talk about, and by the way, my last reason I think is the most, you want to hang on to the end. Yeah, I'm kind of teasing this, but my last reason is the most compelling. So hang on and listen. We'll get through these here pretty quickly. But number one, hey, there's a lack of active daily game modes in this game. You know, I played Galaxy Heroes since the very beginning. I've played Galaxy Heroes since the very beginning. And when the game first came out, it came out with, I need to get that off of there. It came out with Galactic War. And Galactic War was a game mode where, you know, you went into regular game modes like your light, your dark. You completed them, you could sim them. You know, they gave you less sim tickets, but you still could sim stuff the same way here. But they had Galactic War, which was a game mode that required you to play through 12 nodes using your roster, getting a bunch of rewards, being exposed to different teams and different characters, you know, kind of seeing the gamut of different teams that are out there from other players. It would take somebody else's roster and put them there for you to fight 12 game nodes every day. There's nothing like this here. You know, in all of these, in Light, Shadow, Guild, when I play it once, I can then sim it forever, which is good. You should be able to do that, but then there's nothing really for me to play. Not to mention, these things pop up non-stop. Okay, sorry. I can do this in Arena. I can play in Arena, but I'm only playing against the very tip of the top for me, or only people around my skill level. That's all I'm competing against right now, and nowhere else in the game. Pop-ups. Pop-ups isn't even on the list, boys and girls. So, and other than that, there's really nowhere else to engage with this game on a daily basis. You know, I think they made a huge mistake not putting a Galactic War or some kind of thing, some kind of daily game mode where you played through a bunch of nodes against a bunch of other teams, or a mixture of other teams. You know, I get a Hobbit team here, I get some combo of Rangers here, whatever, on a daily basis, and advancing. And as my roster advanced, it got more difficult. There's just nothing like that. There's nothing to engage me on a daily basis. So reason number one that I think the game is going away, there's a lack of daily active game modes. Now that's pretty simple. What's reason number two? There's zero innovation in the game space here. You know, they have not presented anything innovative. It's basically, they've taken the Galaxy of Heroes engine. Capital Games that designed Galaxy of Heroes designed this game. They've taken that engine. This is literally, I mean, you could probably layer the Galaxy of Heroes Cantina over this, and it would look really, really similar. There'd be some differences, you know, but it's basically, this game is a combination of Galaxy of Heroes and Marvel Strike Force. You know, instead of 330 shards, you have 810. I think that's more Marvel Strike Force. The levels, the gear, it's just a combination of those two games, and it puts it together, and it's another pop-up, and it's depending on the IP, Lord of the Rings, to carry it, which we'll get to here in a minute, because I don't think the IP is carrying it. I'll talk about why. But I just think there's just no innovation. There's just nothing new here. It's just copying from all the other games. The engine for Galaxy Heroes is the same. So number three, it's so dang laggy. I can't get over this. Let's go to Aldred here. Now, it takes a minute to look at this. Oh, wait, I didn't even take the sign down. You saw how long it took to pull up? I'll do it again. Let's do it again. Let's scroll. I'm going to scroll to my next character. Yep. Let's scroll to the next character. Yeah. Hey, maybe a little bit as BlueStacks, but I play Galaxy Heroes on BlueStacks too. You guys watch me. There is no lag. What happens when I level them up? Let's go to level 2 here. Level 2. Yeah, that's not as bad. It's a little punchy. Let's go to the gear. This is my favorite. Craft the gear. Equip the gear. Equip the gear. Yes! This stuff takes microseconds in other games. Just microseconds. It doesn't... I don't have to wait for that stuff to occur. It matters. It just matters. It just does. It affects the experience of playing the game. It just matters. The game is so dang laggy, and they haven't fixed it. I think part of that is lack of investment in the servers, which comes from some other problems in the game that are there, and I don't think you're going to see any investment in servers anytime soon. Okay, another problem. People just don't like the art and graphics, and this has been true from the very first day. It was one of the biggest complaints when the game came out. People did not like the art and the graphics. Now, I will say when you look at these PFPs here or whatever, icons, you know, these are definitely richer in detail and art than like my Galaxy Heroes were when they came out in 2015. 2015. But one of the big complaints early on was Strider doesn't look like Vigo, and Arwen doesn't look like, I can't remember her name, Liv Tyler. You know, Elrond doesn't look like Mr. Anderson. It's just none of it fits. So, you know, people complain about the looks of it. The gameplay doesn't get people excited. There's another pop-up. For the love of God, the pop-ups. People don't get excited about the gameplay of it. It's not, and I'm not going to run a gameplay. You guys play enough. If you want to play, go play. You can watch other videos, see the gameplay. People just aren't really enjoying another pop-up. I'm going to jump in a little early here. The game seems to be all about getting me to spend money. And I get it. I get it. The game needs whales. The game needs people spending money. That's how these games work. 80% of people play for free. 15% of people are just, you know, dolphins. You spend 20 bucks here, 10 bucks there. And then 5% of the people are spending $100 or more a month. And I did spend that the first couple months because I was trying to make content for you guys. But man, I don't want to get a pop-up every time I exit a screen or enter a screen. So problem number 4, people just don't like the art and graphics. It has not changed. It hasn't improved. It's the same. As far as I can tell, I'm not a big art and graphics identifier kind of guy, but it just hasn't changed. So there you go. As I said before, guys, I've spent more than $1,700, but I spent about $1,700 total on getting Elrond, getting the gear up, getting him to where he needs to be, and I have never been able to climb to number 1 in Arena. Now, part of that, and maybe a big part of that, is I'm in the original Arena, so the people playing in here played during the beta, had all their gems refunded to them, and then some when the game started, so they were able to capitalize on that and field a lot bigger teams. But if I'm gonna invest that much, these pop-ups, it's not on the list, but I'm really not digging this. It's unbelievable to me, and it was unconscionable. I've never spent that kind of money. I spent that money because I'm trying to be at the top of content creation of the game. The issue is it's a really crowded content creation space, and it didn't really work for me. And I'm not going to stop making content altogether, but, you know, it's a dying game, I think. And I'm getting to the point here real quick. You're going to get a really big smack in the face here pretty soon about why I think this is a dying game. But, hey, man, I spent about $1,700 on Elrond and the team around him, and the best I got was number 10 in Arena. That's the best I got. That's pretty frustrating to invest that kind of money and not get the results for it. So yeah, I shouldn't have popped that down. Hey, problem number 6. There's a weird, it's a weird or lack of communication from the development team in the game. I have really good conversations online with, you know, the main Discord person who's in charge of, now I'm forgetting her name and I apologize. You know, you can have good conversations on Discord, but they've limited a lot of communications to Discord with the game. And let me show you something I confirm with people that this was true for them. Hey, for those of you who don't have Gear 8 characters, were you aware that Gear 9 and Gear 10 are in the game now? I'm at Gear 8. I can go to Gear 9 and Gear 10. It's these purplish gears, which, by the way, is the exact same colors of Galaxy of Heroes. Green for the early levels, a white/green, then blue for the mid-levels, and purple. Anyway, hey, guys, Gear 9 and 10 are in the game. You know why you don't know if you didn't know? Because it wasn't announced in-game. There have been a lot of things that have happened in this game that weren't announced in the game. Nothing in the inbox from the developers, nothing specific. a lot of it has just come down via Discord or making sure you're paying really close attention to some of the messages maybe. But if you weren't paying really close attention and if you didn't have these purple boxes pop up on your Gear 8 characters, you probably don't know the Gear 9 or 10 is in the game, because I asked in my Discord with my guild, and a bunch of people weren't aware that that was going on, including my guild leader. Is like, oh, really? I hadn't heard that. So yeah, hey guys, Gear 8 and 9 are available in the game, if you weren't aware. I don't know why that wasn't like a mailbox delivery to say, hey, we're introducing 2 new gear levels along with... It's just not happening. It's just weird lack of communication from the... I don't get it. And there's other stuff too, and I can't think of it specifically, but there's been more stuff that has not been communicated in game. We've got a couple more reasons here that the game, I think, is going down, and then we're going to talk about specifics as far as what's going to happen. But hey man, nobody knows these characters. It's a real problem. So if you're going to develop a game that's got all the previously aforementioned problems, you want to have an IP that you recognized. Who knows Woobity? Anybody know Woobity? Let's pull up Google. This is Google. Woobity. Lord of the Rings: Heroes of Middle Earth is the first lookup. There's a Facebook thing here. There's an Instagram thing. Miri or Woobity. That's That's just for this game. Okay, that's just for this game. Let's look up Woobity, Lord of the Rings. Okay, LOTR GG. This is all game stuff. Woobity is not somebody that exists, as far as I know. Now, I may be wrong, but this is all game stuff here. As far as I know, Woobity is not a character that actually exists in the Tolkien lore. And if he does, 99% of us that haven't read the Silmarillion and other books and really know about it know that he exists. Eladon and Elrohir are the sons of Elrond. They're a little more common, so maybe 5% to 10% of the community would know they exist as sons of Elrond, but still, you gotta read the Silmarillion to know these things. Lomion, nobody knows Lomion. Naramiri, Aylmer, we all know from the movie. Arwen, we know from the movie. Strider, Lady Ao, and Pippin. Nuraz, nope. Morja, nope. Shagrat, we would know if we saw him in the movie, but you probably don't know that's his name. This is a game that's a Lord of the Rings game full of characters that we don't know. These characters are not out there, except maybe deep in the Tolkien lore somewhere, and then they're different than they are in game. Like they're not representative of who they... Like Lomion's out there, but he's an elf, but this is not who he is. He's not part of this group, and he's not part of this generation of elves in the Tolkien literature and lore, from what I understand. Same thing with Naramiri. That's what I'm told. I don't know who this character is. And the problem is, if you want to get me invested in a game, and you want me investing in characters like Taibeb the Sage and Bekelu, I've Googled these too. They're not out there. Now let's do another little test here. We're on Google, right? Now, a lot of you may or may not know Ethkoth. Ethkoth is a Jedi from Star Wars. I didn't know who he was until I started playing Galaxy of Heroes. But if you Google Ethkoth, he's a Star Wars character. He's on Wikipedia. He was in the Clone Wars, Episode 2, Episode 1, Star Wars Ethkoth. None of this Googling, literally none of it, is from Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Now, part of that problem is that he's not a very good character in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, but he was one of the original slate of characters, which is what we have right now in Lord of the Rings: Heroes of Middle-earth. He was one of the original characters in Galaxy of Heroes, Ethkoth. He's a Galactic Republic Jedi, and that's my point. He existed. If you looked him up, you could find out who he is. You could find a Clone Wars episode with him in it, featuring Ethkoth. You could find him in Episode 1, Episode 2, Episode 3. His character existed in the universe. These characters don't exist. And if I just want generic, like, Middle Ages fighting characters, you know, Raid is a game that exists. Raid is out there. I can go get these types of characters. So it's a real problem. Hey, we got the Hobbits. That's great. I didn't know what the Haradrim... I knew from experience they're the guys that ride the Oliphants, right? Haven't seen an Oliphant in-game, and I don't know who these characters are. I wouldn't have known a Haradrim by a Nazgul, he just was one of the men of the South that came to help. I don't even know. But Too many characters in this game that nobody knows. If you're going to rely on the IP because your game is lacking in other areas, you better have some characters that people like. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Haradrim and Dunedain, I don't know, whatever. Hey, there is one primary reason that this game, it's going to die. It's losing money. The game is not making money, and I want to point to something here. I've got this pulled up right now. This is Sensor Tower. Okay, so Sensor Tower, and let me get this off here. I am not an expert on Sensor Tower. Okay, I'm not an expert, but I can pull up basic information on Sensor Tower. Sensor Tower is out there. It gives you data on mobile games. Okay, it tells you what's going on and everything. So this is the data on Lord of the Rings: Heroes of Middle-earth from July. In July, the game made $500,000 on both Android and Apple. Okay, so the game made $1 million and had the downloads and I was worried about, but the game made $1 million. The game made $1 million. Well, let's look at the downloads, 600,000. Okay, I don't know why it's so much lower in Apple than it is on Android, but whatever. So 600,000 downloads, $1 million. Some of you are thinking, wow, $1 million, that's nice, that's great. Let's look up an old classic. Clash of Clans. Clash of Clans, the game that got most of us into mobile gaming. Me, anyway. First mobile game where I really played. Last month, July, made $27 million. And this is just cash for Supercell, by the way. I mean, they've got a development team, but they're just raking it in on this game. But let's look at some stuff that's a little closer to home. Galaxy of Heroes, in July, 400,000 downloads. That's two-thirds of, I mean, you would expect with a new game there'd be just truckloads of downloads. There's not. Galaxy Heroes made $7 million in July. And that was just in a regular month. Like, a regular month for Galaxy Heroes, $7 million. $7 million. And I remember the first year for Galaxy Heroes, when you look, it became a $1 billion game its fifth year. So it was making about $200 million a year. $200 million a year divided by 12 months. Oh boy, I don't know, 15 million a month, something like that. Averaging like 15 million a month its first 5 years. It's making half of that now, so it's not making as much, but it's making a lot more than LOTR Heroes. And that game's already built, so there's probably a lot more. There are probably more developers working on LOTR Heroes of Middle-earth than there are on Galaxy Heroes. At least for now, or there were at the beginning. Let's take a look at a couple more. I just want to Marvel Strike Force. Marvel Strike Force made $6 million last month. It had 900,000 downloads. Almost had more downloads than Lord of the Rings Heroes of Middle-earth. And that's the new game. We're going to take a look at one more here. I mentioned Raid. Raid Shadow Legends had 700,000, so the same amount of downloads. Actually, more downloads, like by 100,000, and made $16 million. Guys, this game is not making money. Now, when you think about $1 million, let's talk about what that makes up for you. If you've got a development team of at least 10 people, and we know they've been developing this game for years now. They've been developing this game for years. I don't know if it was 2 or 3 years ago in the Galaxy Heroes community, we noticed, hey, Capital Games is hiring for a new game. Maybe, let's say it was 2 years ago. And they probably, you got to figure they hired about 10 people minimum for a new game. They're hiring these developers in California, 100 to 125,000 just for salaries, so probably like 150 to 175 for their full packages. If you hire 10 people, you're looking at, let's just say 10 million a month. I think that's conservative, but let's just say the game costs 10 million a month. I'm sorry, 10 million a year. Sorry. What am I doing here? Am I doing math? My math is really bad. Hang on. Let's just say the game cost $2 million a year for the last 2 years to develop. There's no way it cost that little. But let's just say they developed this game for a grand total of $5 million over the beta and everything else. I don't think that's even close. But let's say it cost them $5 million. Well, so far in the first couple months, they've made back... No. Hold on. Okay, I'm fading back in here because I confused myself. Okay, so let's say at the absolute most conservative measure, the game costs $5 million to develop. There is no way. But let's say that, okay? And they're currently developing. They still got this team working for them. They're going to recover this year at the pace they're going like $15 million. And I'm going to tell you right now, that ain't going to do it, buddy. That ain't going to cover this game. This game is losing money. and it's probably losing money hand, and it's definitely not making near the amount of money that they would have hoped it was making for this kind of game. Now, that's the biggest reason why I think this game is going to be going away. Now, how is that going to work? I'm going to show you. I told you I have experience. I've played a couple of games on this channel that died. We're going to start with Lego Star Wars Battles. So I played Lego Star Wars Battles. If we maximize that right here. So Lego Star Wars Battles. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mute this and play it. This is me playing Lego Star Wars Battles. So what happened with Lego Star Wars Battles is I played it during the beta. We got it up and running. It's a fun little game. It's like a Clash Royale, but with Lego Star Wars minifigures. And the game died. Somewhere during the beta, they stopped developing it, and they didn't work on it anymore. And then they announced that they were killing the game. And then, like 3 months later, they sold it to Apple Arcade. And since it's gone to Apple Arcade, there was some developments over the first year of the game. They did a lot of developing over the first year. After that, it just went nowhere. And the reason for that is that they already had those developments baked into the game that they did. So they just dropped all the developments in the game that were already baked in. They just put them out there, and then they have not made any new developments in the game for like the past year. So there you go. That is Lego Star Wars Battles. That's one game. Let's go take a look at another game I've got loaded up here. Let's get rid of that. I had it here. Do I still have it? I think I've got it. Where? Uh-oh, boys and girls. Here we go. Okay, so this is Lego Legacy Heroes Unboxed. Now, I played this game. I was actually, at the time, I was kind of tired of playing, and I'm going to move up here so you guys can watch me a little bit, but I was tired of playing, I need to mute this. I was tired of playing Galaxy Heroes at the time, so I tried a different game. It's very much like Galaxy Heroes. It's exactly the same as Galaxy Heroes, Marvel Strike Force, or Lord of the Rings Heroes of Middle-earth, except it's just classic Lego figures, right? So I played this game, and very clearly the game died early on. And like 4 to 5 months after launch, might have been a few more months than that, they announced that they were changing the development team from a Western European to an Eastern European team. They gave development to a team in Ukraine. I'm just thinking here. Come on, let's get some action. Okay, so they gave the game to a development team in Ukraine, and basically to cut costs because the game wasn't making any money. And now I think after 3 years of being out and just slow development and not much going on in the game, they've kind of stopped developing it, and they're putting it on like Netflix or something. They're doing something. So anyway, these games have died. They usually die slowly and painfully and over time. They don't usually die like overnight. But that's where we are, guys. I think this game is, it may take a while because they've probably already got a bunch of content baked in that they've built up over time. They've got the content saved right now. They can probably launch about a year or more worth of content without any more future development. So what might happen here, if they don't start making money soon, and I'm telling you, $1 million a month is not making money, what they will do is they'll take some of the developers off the game, they'll move them to a different game, and then they'll leave like a skeleton crew on this game, and they'll launch out the content as they go until they're exhausted of content. Then they'll just kind of collect whatever money they're making for a while, then they'll just shut her down. And unless something changes drastically in the next 2 months, 2 or 3 months, this game, I just think it's dead. I just think it's dead in the water, and it's unfortunate. They had a great IP here to play with. They've just done a bunch of stuff that aren't really going to benefit. And that's how I feel about the game. This isn't, like I said, this isn't my usual tone or tenor about games, but that's what I feel. I feel like this game's in real trouble, and I don't think it's going to last. And if it does, it's just going to be a run the clock out kind of thing where they just drop all of the development they've already got on it so far, because right now, there ain't nothing on this game that's inspiring anybody to do much. So there you go. My 8 reasons for why I think this game is dying and will be dead, and what I think is going to happen once it does finally die. There you go, boys and girls. Let me know in the comments. Maybe I'm way off base and I'm missing something, but when I really look at things, the number one thing I look at is it's not making any money, and that is the bottom line. That's literally the bottom line. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, Mordorians and Gondorians, have a great day. I will talk to you soon, and always remember, Nooch too good.